Guys, it's Maddie. Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, then welcome. Today I'll be sharing the TBRs for the read-a-thons that I'll be participating in February, aka basically my February TBR. So because there are so many read-a-thons happening in February that I'm really interested in, instead of titling this my February TBR, I'm just going to title it, Read-a-thon TBRs for February or something like that, because there are so many. Oh my god, like February for some reason has always been the month for read-a-thons. I don't know why. I have no idea, but that always just seems to be the case every year. So I plan to hopefully get to a lot of books in February because there are a lot of read-a-thons going on. So going through the ones that I am going to try to participate in, I have the Read-a-thon, the BookTube Games, which is a new one, which sounds super fun. And then I have the Black-a-thon, the Shoulda Coulda Woulda Read-a-thon, the Fairytale-a-thon, the In-love-a-thon, Contemporary-a-thon, which I'll definitely participate in because it's one of my favorites, the series Crackdown Read-a-thon, and the Fantastic February Read-a-thon. So I'm going to go through them, go through each of the challenges and what books I'll be reading and stuff. So let's just get into it. So the first one is the Read-a-thon. The goal for this one is just to thin out your TBR. So read books from your TBR in hopes that you can get your TBR to as smallest as you can. So hopefully I'll be able to accomplish this. So for this one, there's no specific books that I'm choosing for this. It's just whatever I read in February will count towards this read-a-thon, so that one should be pretty easy. And the next one is the BookTube Games, which is the same situation. Any book I read in February can count towards this one because it's another month-long read-a-thon. And this one just sounds so cool. So how this one works is each participant is split up in teams, and whichever team reads the most pages at the end of the month wins. And there's like prizes and stuff. It just sounds so cool. I'm really excited for this one. It's brand new. By the time I upload this video, I think the signups for this read-a-thon will be closed, so you can't be put into teams, so I'm sorry about that. But hopefully you guys heard about it beforehand if you were interested, because this one sounds really fun. I am looking forward to it. So the next one I'm going to talk about is the Shoulda Coulda Woulda Read-a-thon, and this one is on Twitter. And the goal for this one is to pick 5-star predictions, put them in a jar or a random number generator, split the number of books you read in half. So for example, if you picked 10 books like I did, you would pick 5 books out of a jar or from a random number generator, and those 5 books are the ones that you are going to read for this read-a-thon. So I picked 5 randomly, and the first one is Wait for You by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And this is a new adult series that I really want to read by her because I want to read all of her books. And the next one was Hunted by Megan Spooner. I feel like this one might be 5 stars because I really like retellings, and this one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So we'll see how that one goes. And then I have When It's Real by Erin Watt. Loved Paper Princess by these authors, so I definitely want to read more books from them. So I'm excited that this one was drawn because I'd been really hoping it was going to be drawn because I really want to read this one. And the next one is Eve the Awakening by Jenna Moreci. I read The Savior's Champion by this author, and I loved it. I also love Jenna. I love her YouTube channel. I love her writing tips, so I'm excited to read another book from her. And then I picked Corrupt by Penelope Douglas, which is a dark new adult book. So I'm excited to read all of these. Let's see if they end up being 5 stars. Wouldn't it be amazing if all these ended up being 5 stars since they were 5-star predictions? We shall see. We shall see how it goes. Alright, the next one I'm going to be talking about is the Fairytale-a-thon. And this is a fairy tale themed read-a-thon. I think I participated in it once last year and I really enjoyed it. And I love fairy tales. I love retelling. And that's what this read-a-thon is about. Fairy tales and reading retelling. So I'm excited for it. The first challenge is to read a book that features friendship or family. And I chose Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now this one will be a reread But it's been a while since I've picked up the books in this series. I kind of forgot what happens in the first book, so I'm actually going to reread it again. I don't really mind because, like, I liked the book, so rereading it isn't a problem for me, so I'm going to do that, hopefully. And the next challenge is to read a retelling over 500 pages. For that one, I chose Crest by Marissa Meyer, but I'm only going to get to this one if I end up liking Cinder and want to continue on with this series. So I might end up picking a different book for this one if I end up not wanting to finish the series, which is, spoiler, Cinder is also on this Read-a-thon TBR. And the next one is read a retelling that's part of a series. So for that one, I'll either be reading The Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine or Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. So if I end up not wanting to continue on with the Cinder series, I'm going to read The Shadow Queen. I've heard mixed things about this series, so we'll see how it goes. It is a retelling, and I love retellings, so maybe I'll like it. This one is a Snow White retelling. I don't think I've ever read a Snow White retelling, so hopefully I'll like it. And the next one is to read a retelling that takes place in winter or has a wintry word in the title. I'm assuming this one takes place in winter, and that is Hunted by Megan Spooner, because the cover is of a girl in the snow. Hopefully it takes place in winter so I can count it. I'm pretty sure it does, though. We shall see. The next one is to read a retelling with a romance, and I picked Roseblood by A.G. Howard. This is a Phantom of the Opera retelling. I have been wanting to read this book because I love the Phantom of the Opera, but I'm super nervous because I haven't heard great things about this book in regards to reviews, but I still want to read it because I love the Phantom of the Opera, and I would love to read a retelling. I don't know. We'll see if I like it. I hope I do. I hope I'm one of those people, the minority it seems, that like the book. We shall see. And the next one is to curl up with a warm beverage and read your favorite fairy tale or retelling. So for this one, I'm assuming you have to reread a book. For this one, I chose Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I read this book in 2017 and I adored it, and I've been really wanting to reread it. So this is one of my favorite retellings. For that reason, I'm going to reread it, and I'm excited. It was such a cute book. Really excited to dive back into it. The next challenge is to read a book you've been hesitant to pick up. So this is the one that I chose for Cinder. I have been hesitating to pick this book up because even though it's a retelling, a fairy tale retelling, and I love retellings, this one is a space sci-fi retelling, and space sci-fi books and movies don't gel well with me. They're not that interesting to me. They're kind of boring to me. It can kind of get confusing. So that's why I've been putting this book off for so long, but I still really want to give it a try because I've heard great things about this series. So hopefully I end up liking it, and my thoughts on me not liking it because it's space sci-fi will be wrong. I don't know. I hope so. Really hope so. And the last one is to read the group book. So the group book is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's a new release, and the synopsis sounded really interesting. So I'm going to try to get to the group book during this read-a-thon because I'm really intrigued by this one. Alright, sorry if I'm going really quickly, but there are a lot of read-a-thons, a lot of challenges to talk about, so I'm trying to make this video not too long. So the next one is the In-love-a-thon, and this is a romance-themed read-a-thon, which is right up my alley. And the first challenge is to read a book from your favorite romance author. I have quite a few, but my favorite author is Jennifer L. Armentrout, and she also writes romance. So I'm counting Wait For You for this one since it is a romance book. The next one was kind of funny. It is to combine your favorite genre with a romance. My favorite genre is romance. So I was like, okay. So basically just read a straight up romance. But I decided instead to make it more interesting to combine my second most favorite genre or another genre that I really loved with that also has a romance. So I went with a paranormal book, and I chose The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. This one is about fairies, so that's why it kind of has a paranormal vibe to it, and also the romance in it. So it was perfect for this challenge. Next one is to read a book with your favorite romantic trope. So I chose When It's Real by Erin Watt because I've heard that this book has an enemies to lovers trope, and that's one of my favorite romance tropes, so I have a feeling I like this one because it has that trope in it. The next one is just to read a fairy tale retelling, and I chose To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This is a Little Mermaid retelling. I love The Little Mermaid. I've never read a retelling of that story, so I'm really excited for this one. It's been on my TBR since it came out last year, so hopefully I'll get to it. Next one is a really fun one, and that is to read an original fairy tale and then watch a movie adaptation on it. So I chose Sleeping Beauty because it's one of my favorite fairy tales, and Sleeping Beauty is super short. Fairy tales are super short, so I should be able to get through this one quickly, and then I'm going to rewatch the Disney movie, which is one of my favorite Disney movies. I love the Sleeping Beauty Disney adaptation so much. So really excited for this one because this is such a nostalgic challenge that I'm really happy is there because I love Sleeping Beauty so much. The next one is to read an LGBT romance book, and for this one I chose Damaged Like Us by Christina and Becca Ritchie. This is a book that I haven't ever heard about, but I wanted to read a new adult LGBT book because I've never read a new adult or adult LGBT book, so I was kind of curious as to how that was handled in a new adult book way, so that's why I chose this one. And this one follows a guy who forms a relationship with his bodyguard, so I feel like there's going to be some forbidden vibes there. I love forbidden romances, so really looking forward to that. Hopefully I'll get to it. And then the last challenge is to read one of the host's favorite romance books. So one of the host's favorite romance books is Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover, which I've been wanting to read forever. It's like one of the top Colleen Hoover books that I've always meant to read but keep putting it off. So I'm hoping that this read-a-thon will move me to finally get to it. Next is one of my favorites, and that is the Contemporary-a-thon. So glad this one is returning. I love this read-a-thon. So the first challenge is to read your most recently acquired contemporary novel, and I have acquired this book on ebook, so that one is Corrupt by Penelope Douglas, which is a dark contemporary. So I have a feeling it's not going to be an easy read, but I'm going to give it a try and see if I like it. The next one is to read a book with either purple or blue on the cover. So I chose When It's Real for that one because it kind of has a gradient effect in it where it goes from like a green to like a light blue. So because there's some light blue in there, I am counting it for this challenge. The next one is to read a diverse contemporary, and I chose The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This is a very diverse book that has a interracial couple in it, and this one, I meant to read this book in like the beginning of 2017. I remember putting it on a TBR in 2017 and never getting to it. Like, I put this book on so many TBRs, so hopefully this will be the time that I finally get to this book because I've heard great things about it and it sounds so cute. Okay, so the next one is to read a dark or taboo contemporary, which Corrupt could also count for this one, but I did choose another book for this one, and I chose Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Hearing Blake. This one has been on my radar for a long time. It is a dark or not much of a taboo, but just a dark contemporary because it's about this girl whose best friend is accusing her brother of raping her. So she's having to deal with that, and because rape is involved, I'm assuming it's going to be kind of dark and a pretty hard-hitting read. So really excited for this one. Also, the cover is absolutely gorgeous. By the way, I love it. And the next challenge is to read a contemporary you meant to read in 2018. I am counting Maybe Someday for this one because I've meant to read this book not just in 2018, but like since 2015. So I've been meaning to read it for several years. And the next one is to read a contemporary in a non-traditional format. So I'm going to try reading or listening to Wait For You on audiobooks, since that's not a traditional format. I've been getting more into audiobooks lately, so I should have an easy time listening to this one. Finally, the last one is to read a contemporary with a picture on the spine. For that one, I went with Damaged Like Us by Christina and Becca Ritchie, because the guy's face continues on to the spine, so it counts for that one. If you haven't noticed already, I am doubling up these books on several readathons, since if I chose a different book for each challenge in these readathons, I'd end up with 40 books for my February TBR, and that is not possible for me. So that's why I keep repeating books. I should have mentioned that before we got started on this TBR. And the next one is the series Crackdown, and the goal for this one is just to start a new series that is on your TBR. Or I guess you can continue a series if you wanted to too. So I chose to read the Covenant series by Jennifer L. Armentrout during this readathon. There are five books in this series, plus a novella and a short story. I don't know if I'd be able to read those in a week, but I'll still start the series, and hopefully I'll get a lot of books from the series read during that week. I am going to, as I mentioned, reread Half-Blood, because I need to, and then get to the rest of the books, so I'm hoping that'll happen. Hopefully I'll have time, because those are a lot of books to read in 1 week, but I think it's possible. The next readathon I'm going to mention is the Black-a-thon. This is another brand new readathon, and this one was made for Black History Month, which happens in February. And for this one, you just have to read books that either have African American characters or are written by African American authors. So this is a great way to support the African American community. So I'm really excited about this one. This is such a cool readathon, and it seems so important. So really looking forward to this one. And this one has challenges. So the first one is to read a book that has a romance between two Black people, or a Black person and a person of color. So I chose A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole. This is a romance book that I've been hearing about, and the two main characters are people of color. And have I ever read a romance book that has people of color as the main characters? I don't think I have. So this one will be a good, nice new experience, so I'm excited for it. The next one is to read a book by a Black author, and I chose The Sun Is Also a Star, since the author is a person of color. The next one is an interesting one, and that is to listen to 4 poems that the hosts provide and share your favorite on social media. Discuss what this poem means to you and why it matters. So that one is really cool. You just listen to these poems, pick your favorite, and then share your thoughts on it. So I am going to try to do that, and I don't listen to a lot of poetry. I don't read a lot of poetry, but I still want to complete this challenge. Next one is to read a book with an intersectional Black character. So a Black character who is also either in the LGBT community, has a disability, stuff like that. So diverse things that aren't just have to do with the color of their skin. For that one, I chose Little and Lion by Bradley Colbert. This one is an LGBT romance, and I believe it does have Black characters in it. And then the last challenge is to read the group book, and the group book is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this is a book that I've seen floating around for a long time that I have put on my TBR, so maybe I'll get to it during this one. If I have time, I definitely will. And finally, the last readathon is Fantastic February, which is a readathon that's hosted by a blog called Books and Munchies that I just found out about, and she's doing a month-long readathon that for every month of the year, and each year has a different theme. So the theme for February is to read fantasy or paranormal books. So I love fantasy and paranormal books. And I have a lot of books already on my TBR that counted for this. So the Covenant series counts for this, and Hunted by Megan Spooner counts. That's a fantasy. Sleeping Beauty, To Kill a Kingdom, and The Darkest Part of the Forest. So I should be able, if I get to all of these books, I should be able to knock off a lot of reads for this read-a-thon. Of course, I'm not going to get to all of these for sure. In fact, I might not even get to all these read-a-thons because there are a lot. But I'm going to try my best. I've been on such a great reading streak these last 2 months that I am just like astounded that I've been able to read so much. Hopefully February will be the same deal, but we'll just see. Let me know if you guys are participating in any of these read-a-thons. What is your TBR? What are the books that you are hoping to read in February? I would love to know. And if you want to know more about all of these read-a-thons, you want to know the announcements, the challenges, all of that, I will leave a link to each of the announcement videos or blog posts or social media posts on these read-a-thons in the description box, so you can check that out. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below for more bookish related videos. Also be sure to follow me on Twitter, where I will be updating my progress throughout these read-a-thons. So if you're interested in that, you should follow me on there. And I post every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So I will be back really soon. Bye!